Just show you what you're going to do with your data for the Screaming Eagle. The first thing is that if you're just looking at vertical circle stuff, you don't want to look at the sideways. I mean, these are interesting, but I'm not smart enough to figure this out. So go in here and figure out which axis is the one that is this guy, the blue one. Okay. So in this case, I think it's, I see I renamed them. I went in and renamed them, but it's going to be the one I think you call Y. If you hold your phone vertically, in like Instagram notation. Okay. So notice that these are all sort of downward accelerations. Although what's interesting is that sometimes you actually accelerate down faster than you could fall. That means that you could. What this means is that gravity's not always down. This is why your iPhone can come out, right? And you could look at that. I'm not smart enough to figure this out, but what we're looking at are these little peaks right here. Okay. Now, let's imagine that you just figured out that the acceleration of this thing is going to be, say, 30 meters per second squared is the acceleration of that, right? Okay. Um, the If it's 30 meters per second squared, you're going to add 9.8 to that. So it's 39.8 meters per second is what this thing's going to read. Because just sitting there without moving, right, we read about negative 9.8, right? So what you're going to do here is you're going to look at this and notice that this is when we go through. This is, by the way, is when we go through going the wrong way. This is when we go through going the right way. Okay, so it just depends on which sweep of the pendulum you notice or that you actually measure. That's why you want to spend a little time picking the correct sweep on your video. But the end game here, though, what we're going to end up with is if you look at this. Let's say it was 30 meters per second squared was the total acceleration you got in the previous step. Add 9.8 to that and then look, and it's like, yeah, some of these are that much, right? It's actually minus 40, right? Which is kind of what we figured out in the last step. We didn't get this one, and I've seen some kids actually figure out there's going to be one peak typically that's around 50, and it just depends on where you sweep. This one's about 45. So remember that you want to add whatever your acceleration is, you're going to add 9.8 to that because gravity is adding to this. Um, and then look at these values and compare that.